What is up, Waffle Gang? I too have you all well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more r/man bod ho. If you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the subscribe button, maybe notification bell too, and if you really do enjoy the content, consider clicking that like button, really helps out. And let's dive straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from The Bonus 1996, titled, "Am I the arsehole for telling a nurse she doesn't deserve her bonus pay?" This woman uses Reddit, so throw away in case she finds this. I'm a general practitioner, 25 female, and I will call the nurse Olga, 40 female. She is a subdirector of the epidemiology department and a pain in the ass for all the doctors and half the nurses. I admit I may be biased when writing this post. Midway through the pandemic, the government in our country started giving bonuses to first-line health workers, more or less the equivalent of $1,500 USA for GP, $1,000 for nurses, etc. Now let me make emphasis on first line, so that you understand the reason of my actions later on. It has taken a while because, bureaucracy, but this month the payment was finally made to the personnel at the hospital I work at. For those who don't know, gossip runs fast inside these white walls, and as the money started coming, people started talking. How much did you get? CX got less than OBGYN. What are you going to do with it? Why hasn't mine arrived? Nothing weird or unexpected, except for the first fact that Olga got the bonus. Remember, this was meant for first line. Well, Olga's job is mostly administrative. And during the worst months of the pandemic, she was working from her house, furthest as you can be from the first line. Even now, she is only coming in the morning to a building where patients are not even allowed. When I learned about this, I laughed. I literally laughed. Not from happiness, but from the indignation and disbelief I have in the audacity of this woman. Because you know who's in charge of reporting to the government what workers were eligible for the bonus? Exactly, the epidemiology department. I shared my thoughts with some of my co-workers who were surprised by my reaction, and most agreed with me that it was obvious Olga was not supposed to get that money. Sadly, this little chat found its way to the grapevine, and well, Olga came to me at lunchtime. She was furious because I was slandering her, yelling to me about how she needed the money for her kids, that I was just one of those doctors that hated when nurses got anything good, that she was going to report me to HR, etc. When I asked in what ways she could be considered first line, she just blurted something about her job being crucial for the hospital's internal machinery, which made her worthy of being considered part of the first line. Sure. After some bantering between both of us, she left, but opinions about our fight are already running loose. Most agree with my point of view, but there is also a general consensus that because her bonus is not affecting anyone negatively, that it was none of my business how she got it, and I should have kept my thoughts to myself instead of talking about it. What do you think, internet strangers? And we do have a little edit which we'll cover after the comments. And correct me if I am wrong here, because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming first-line workers are the ones, that I've always considered anyways, like the nurse, the general practitioners, the ones that's face-to-face with the patients. And from everything I can see here, apart from the gossiping, I hate gossiping anyway, so I probably am going to tack on and everyone sucks it, just because gossiping in a workplace like this always leads to drama. It's always a bad thing, and I just hate gossip in a workplace. But gossip aside, from what I'm making out in this one, that OP is correct, that Olga isn't a first-line employee, and it sounded suspicious that, her department was in charge of saying who's eligible for these bonuses. So in some way, wouldn't that make it fraudulent, taking taxpayers' money and giving it to yourself, even though you wasn't eligible for it? Again, I'm having a lot of presumptions in this one, so there's a very good chance I could be wrong in this, but this is just what I'm reading. Jane Doe says that you're the asshole, but I think you already know it. It's not up to you to decide who gets a bonus. Worry about yourself. There are enough problems in the world without you making more. RJ says everyone sucks here. Sounds like she sucks and may not have deserved the bonus, but it's none of your business and went around gossiping. You asked for drama and you got it. Backdoors Guy says, okay, taking everything you said at face value and assuming we, and you, did not miss any information, then this woman is abusing her position to get money from the state that she was not eligible for. If that is the case, and she is a serious arsehole and you not the arsehole, and it damages everyone because it is tax money. Further, it damages the eligible one, since money pot are not unlimited, and fraud like this can damage the pot's reputation and thus prevent future help of this kind. And even in Jellyfish replies with an interesting comment on that one, saying, I mean, this is very one-sided. OP clearly doesn't like Olga, and we don't know what her position is like behind the scenes. I'm feeling she was probably more entitled to that money than OP was letting on. I'm sure there is checks and balance systems in place to ensure that people are getting the money actually qualify. And Erratic Bonsai says, not the arsehole, and frankly, I'm concerned by all the you're the arseholes. Olga committed fraud and theft, which she mispresented her position in an official report to the government. That bonus is hazard pay for working in an environment that could literally kill you. She works from home. Someone who doesn't work overtime doesn't get overtime pay. Someone who doesn't work in direct physical contact with sick patients shouldn't get hazard pay for working in direct physical contact with sick patients. I would honestly like this to stolen valor. We can probably all agree all healthcare workers deserve a raise, but this is a highly specific situation, and you're not the asshole for raising concerns that she lied and stole money meant to go to people who are putting their lives in danger. She got mad because she got caught, because she knew she wasn't supposed to get the money. Fago says, okay, your gossiping is bad, but why is everyone overlooking the part in which a woman who was safe and away from the hospital stole money meant for people risking their skins and lungs? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. If she didn't want people gossiping about her getting the money, then she shouldn't have tricked the system. As another frontliner, it makes me angry when people compare paperwork with actually attending the sick. It's obvious both are important, but they are not remotely the same, and one brings way more risks. I will go with not the arsehole, but you were very close to everyone sucks here. Intelligent Hope says, I'm going with a you're the arsehole in this one. Whether or not she deserved the bonus or not is one thing, but you were gossiping about another employee. And one more from Acing Space, who says she's a large figure in the epidemiology department during a pandemic, and you thought she doesn't have a huge increase in workload. Seriously, you're the arsehole. Now let's cover the little update before we move on. So edit. Okay, I think I am seeing I'm going to be you're the arsehole because of the gossip, but let's set something clear. Yeah, the bonus is for first-liners, with a very specific requirement that you had to be in contact with patients. It is not about workload, it's about your exposition. And that is very clear in the government guidelines. Even if you are the head of hospital, if you don't see patients, you don't get the bonus. Is this fair? Maybe not, but those were the rules set. How does she evade the control mechanisms? I don't know exactly, but there are tons of ways. It's really not that hard when you are the one doing the process. And no, I asked a friend in the epidemiology department if someone else got the bonus, and no, they didn't. Only Olga, and who knows if her direct boss, the actual director. Now, what do you guys make of this one? There was some mixed comments in there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story comes from FPS Holly. Am I the arsehole for telling my coworker that it's not my fault that she's single when she said that it's not okay for my husband to send me gifts at our workplace? I think I should clarify that he does not show up to my work to deliver the gifts in person. He usually sends me breakfast because I can't have breakfast early in the morning. So when he goes to work, he stops by my favorite cafe and he orders what he knows I like and tells them where the order should be delivered. The owners are his friends, so he gives them the notes to be delivered with the order. And last but not least, I receive the order at the entrance. Nobody receives the order for me. That's why I don't understand what bothers her so much. Also, it bothers her that I put photos of my children and my husband on my desk, which doesn't even make sense because those photos are on my side of the office. Sadly, this is not the first time she says that I am being unprofessional. For her, having photos of your children in the office is not professional, so I don't know how I should act to please her. My 26 female husband, 50 male, sends me gifts at work every day since we started dating. He usually sends me a rose and a coffee with a note wishing me good day, or just a note telling me that he loves me. Sometimes he also sends me chocolates or food from my favorite restaurant, etc. He's a very romantic and attentive man. I love that, but my coworker, 40s female, doesn't like it at all. Yesterday, he sent me some croissants and coffee with a note saying he loved me. And when my coworker saw it, she said I should tell him to stop, that it's not appropriate to receive gifts every day, and another coworker told her she was being better, and that it's nice to have such a loving husband. That since I'm pregnant, it was understandable that he spoiled me so much, but she insisted that it's not appropriate in any way, and that if he doesn't stop, she will talk to our boss. She said she will tell him that she feels uncomfortable and I'm not being professional enough and that she wants another office mate. And that made me so mad because I'm professional enough. The things my husband sends me don't bother anyone, and they're not a distraction to me either, but according to her, they are. So I told her that it's not my fault that she is single and does not receive anything from anyone. That maybe if she was not so bitter, someone would send her at least a coffee, and she'd get angry, and she told everyone that I was rude, and that if I don't apologize, she would talk to HR to see what they can do with me. When I told her that I didn't think of being single as a bad thing, I only said it because she sounded like an envious person, that's all. But apparently what I said hurt her. Am I the asshole? And we'll start off with the Queos who says, everyone sucks here, so she may be jealous and should not have said anything since it doesn't affect her job. You reply to the personal attack which puts you at the same level as her. As a random person, I just have to say that it's weird your husband send you a gift to your place of work every single day since you met each other. That's not romance, that's peeing on your property till everyone knows it's taken. Romance can be public at times, but the workplace is weirdly a public flex. Science Not Kid says you're the asshole every day is excessively disruptive and your comment was intentionally cruel. And before you stopped in on me, no, I'm not single. Edit, note the first few paragraphs of both these posts are edits after things are going her way. Desi says everyone sucks here. Sending stuff to work every day is honestly a bit try-hard and unprofessional. Why can't he get you flowers at home? Because then you wouldn't have a command audience for your grand romance. I would roll my eyes as your coworker too. She should have just ignored it. And when she said something, you could have been less snide about a single status. I worked with a woman whose husband sent jewelry and ginormous florals every major holiday. No one minded. She was pleasant and got her work done and wasn't smug. Princess Glimmer says 50 years old. Followed by Downtown Law who says, I might get downvoted for this, but everyone sucks here. Honestly, I know you all think when someone is mean to you, the best thing to do is be mean back to them, but why make life harder than it already is? I mean, was all this and quotes, so I told her that it's not my fault she is single and does not receive anything from anyone, that maybe if she was not so bitter, someone would send her at least a coffee. And then says, really necessary. You made things 100 times worse for yourself, and yes, she was the instigator, and yes, she's an asshole, 100%, but seriously, why give her ammunition? Why give her more reasons to report you to HR? I know it's tempting to fight back, but isn't it just easier to ignore people sometimes or be the bigger person? People think that being an asshole to someone who's an asshole to you is always justified, but it really isn't. She should have minded her own business, and maybe she did have it coming to her, but your sick burn is going to cause you more problems than it will solve, and you would have been better off just letting her comments slide and letting the bosses handle it, especially since you already had another coworker on your side. Everyone sucks here. Her for obvious reasons, you've escalated the situation and making your own life harder. And one more comment from Private Jokers who says, you're the asshole. Every day isn't romantic, it's obsessive and weird. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account titled, Am I the asshole for telling my widowed friend that I don't care how she feels, she needs to suck it up? Throwaway accounts. My 41 male friend, 43 male, passed away 4 months ago. He had a wife, N, 41 female, a daughter, 15 female, and a 13-year-old son. Since the death of my friend, I've been watching out for N and her children. I go to N's house every 2 weeks to see her and her children. I build a strong relationship with them, so aside from N, they see me as a safe presence in their lives. N has not received therapy, only the children. I also know that N has depression and other mental health problems. I've tried to convince her to receive treatment, but she refuses. Until a few days ago, I told her everything was fine between the children and Anne. Yesterday, I got a call from the 15-year-old. She told me that her mother had been behaving erratically for a few days and that she and her brother were afraid for their mother. She asked me if I could please get them both out of there. I accepted. I picked them up and took them home. They called their grandparents and told them where they were. Their grandparents have no problem with them staying with me. Then I went back to Anne's house, where I found her in a bad emotional state. I tried to talk to her and make her see reason. I told her that when your own children are worried about you, something is really wrong, and that it was necessary for her to receive therapy. This made her very angry, and she began to yell at me that I did not understand what she was feeding, and that therapy was not going to bring her husband back. I replied that I did not care what she felt. She needed to suck it up because she has children who depend on her. She called me an asshole and kicked me out of her house. Now, even my friends are mad at me. They said that I shouldn't have said that to a grieving woman and that I'm an asshole for telling her that I don't care how she feels. They said I should apologize to her and take her children home again because they belong with their mother. I'm going to start off with and not the asshole on this one. I think it was very close to an everyone sucks here for me. Obviously not the asshole because the children are the priority and it's that absolutely looking after them is the number one in this to me, 100%. But I kind of did feel what you said to someone who's already in a bad mental state, not in a good way anyway, to tell him to suck it up because she has children who depend on her. And yes, that absolutely is true. Does need to sort herself out. But I think there probably could have been a better way of saying it. But again, let me just reiterate, the kids are priority. So it is not the asshole to me in this situation. But Secret Werewolf says, oh, I was so prepared to call you the asshole, but no, not the asshole. You didn't say you don't care how she feels. You said you don't care what her excuses for not taking care of her kids is. And make no mistake, that's the heart of the matter. The kids don't feel safe. If she isn't willing to get help, it might be time to involve outsiders. The kids come first. Arkham replies that said, honestly, OP is a hero in my world. As a kid whose mother fell apart when my father died, and did let me mourn as an 8-year-old, so I could mother my not much younger sibling, and all the adults just kept telling me I was 8 going on 25, so it'd be fine. Spoiler alert, I'm now an NC with family and have complex PTSD. It was not fine. Going outside and screaming, sobbing in public, and getting this kid ostracized, blaming me for his suicide. All needed more treatment than the jackass untrained pastoral counselor she chose. Emotional Hazard says, I was ready to say you're an asshole, but having read this, I'm going not the asshole. I was around my mom when she was in an extremely depressive state. I won't go into details, but over 10 years later, those days still haunt me mentally. Those kids have lost their dad, and they need their mom. When people are in that state, there is no reasoning with them, and honestly, some decisions might need to be made where help is forced upon her. Her kids need to be protected from this. People may disagree with me, but everyone in this family deserves to have help. Downtown Law says not the asshole. Her kids have already lost one parent. They can't afford to lose another. Specific Run says not the asshole. Although very hard, you have been honest that their feelings are not a priority for you. Says your priority is the children's well-being. Hat to the no-no says, okay, first, good on you for getting the kids out of the house there. Gonna say, this isn't everyone sucks here though. Your phrasing wasn't great and likely did more harm than good, but she clearly needs to seek help for her kid's sake. Feeding alone when you're grieving is awful, and hearing how much someone doesn't care just cements that. And one more for Roly-Poly Giraffe who says everyone sucks here except the kids and grandparents, but specifically and only because of the choice to tell her to suck it up. That's a pointless comment to someone in extreme emotional distress. You're right, she does need therapy, and it probably is better for the kids to be with the grandparents until she's in a better state. But telling someone to suck it up is the mental health equivalent of telling someone to just stop being poor. It is a fuel on the fire and can make a situation more volatile. All the same, extreme mental duress is not an excuse for being an asshole. Grief is hard, but she does need to make steps to get control of it before it takes over her life completely. Or rather, before it burns her life down for hacks. Judgment open to change if that's a paraphrase and not the actual way you put it. For example, I know you are grieving but your kids need you and therapy will have you get back on your feet. Would be not the asshole. Regardless of her response to it, it sounds like that is what you said before the suck it up part. Now, what do you guys make of this one? What are your thoughts on this story? Let us know in the comments below and we'll move on to the next one. And our next story is from Food or Money. Am I the asshole asking my girlfriend not to eat so much? I know the title sounds bad, but this is a pretty specific situation, so please hear me out. I, 26 male, have been dating a woman we will call Ashley, 26 female, for about 3 months. Ashley grew up financially well off and relatively privileged, and it's been a point of friction in our relationship with her not understanding and grasping the level of poverty I and my family grew up with. It is also relevant to this story that Ashley is a heavier person and is a very vocal advocate for body positivity and will very assertively stand up to anyone fat-shaming herself or others. The other person who's relevant to the story is my grandma, 70. My grandmother is a wonderful woman, but she is both very proud and very broke. She likes to have us over for dinner and is an excellent cook, but financially, she can't really afford it. She refused to take money from me or anyone else and won't let anyone bring food, saying it's her responsibility to take care of the family. She also takes offense if you turn down the invitation. About a month ago, we had dinner with her and Ashley liked the food so much she went back for a second and third large portions. This is not done in my family. We all take a single small portion as the leftovers are what my grandmother has to eat for the week. So Ashley taking more meant my grandmother didn't eat for the next couple of days. After the dinner, I explained this to Ashley and she was shocked. I tried to bring my grandmother food, but she refused to charity out of pride. My grandmother has invited us to dinner again this weekend. Before we go, I tried to have a discussion with Ashley reiterating my grandmother's financial situation and asking that she try to only take a single smaller portion so my grandmother can have food for the week. I said we could all go eat again after the meal if she was still hungry. Ashley got very angry at this and said she would not be shamed for her eating, she would not limit her food, and that no one other than her decides when she's had enough food. She also said that I was fat-shaming her. This whole ordeal has highlighted a lot of incompatibility issues, and I don't know if the relationship is going to last, but I just want some other opinions on if I'm the arsehole. Am I the arsehole for asking my girlfriend to limit her eating? Edit. A lot of people are asking why I didn't tell my girlfriend before the first meal. To be frank, I didn't think of it. It hadn't occurred to me that someone would go to someone else's house and eat 2 days worth of food in a sitting. Now again, this is going to be a not the arsehole from me. The title had me going at first. I gotta tell you, But you didn't go out your way to shame Ashley. In fact, you didn't shame Ashley in this at all. You're just caring for your grandmother. And if you had to go at Ashley after the first meal when you took extra portions, yes, you would have been the arsehole, but you didn't. You realized that you hadn't told her to begin with. So the second time you went around, you said, hey, do you mind, just because, that's going to be grandma's food for the week. And you knew her situation. And you even offered to, go out for food afterwards, which was a fantastic compromise in my opinion. But instead of doing that, Ashley turned around and said, no, you can't do that. You can't shame me to eat food and I will eat it if I want, which, is just a horrible, entitled attitude to me. So absolutely not the arsehole to me. And I do wonder if that relationship will last by the way it sounds it. But Puffalump212 says, oh, I was ready with a judgment with the title and first paragraph, but not the arsehole. She could eat before or after. You're not shaming her. She just doesn't care about grandma. That's not a great quality. Good Stuff replies that saying, agreed. If she doesn't care about an elderly lady who's being very kind and generous, warning there, then she should at least care that this is an important person to AP. Additional warning, 2 very bad signs. All the way around, it sounds like it's all about her and nobody else matters in the least. It also sounds like she has some past fat-shaming issues that she's going to take out on people regardless of what their actual intention was. Zambi0 says that she literally taken the food at your grandma's mouth. The fact that she still have an attitude after you explain the situation, she's a massive arsehole. Not the arsehole, dumper. Fox Unikakila says fuck that, not the arsehole, Ashley needs to go. If by Whiskey says not the arsehole, but I'm tempted to go and everyone sucks here, except for grandma, because I think you did and make a mistake. Clearly your girlfriend is being a huge a-hole. You asking her not to eat that much at dinner has nothing to do with her or her weight, but rather your grandma's finances. You even offered to get her more food afterwards. Her reaction is selfish and she appears to be playing the victim. That said, you made a pretty big mistake by not explaining to Ashley before the first dinner that she should not take more than 1 small serving due to your grandma's finances. It's a pretty unusual situation, and she should have known going into that dinner that was expected of her. The only reason I'm going with not the arsehole and not everyone sucks here is because their reaction to your conversation before the second dinner demonstrates that talking to her before the first dinner would have not changed their behavior. So I think you get off on a technicality here because your mistake did not result in any actual harm. Just a suggestion unrelated to this judgment. Have you tried inviting your grandmother over for dinner at your place? Purposefully cooking way too much food and giving everyone leftovers. Everyone takes leftovers, she might not feel like she is getting charity. And let's have one more from Forward Plenty, who says not the arsehole. This may come as a surprise to some people, but being invited to eat at someone's house is not about the food. Let that sink in. Chew on that a little if you will. It's about a social activity and breaking bread together, not about how full you fill your plate, or whether the food is good or not good, or if there is enough, etc. It's about getting together, having something so that you have something to do with your hands and visiting. Catching up and creating bonds. If all you care about is food, go to an all-you-can-eat buffet and load up. However, most of us can stand to miss a meal or two. We get over having to clear the buffet table when we graduate school. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and your verdicts on all of today's stories. As always, I would love to hear them if you choose to do so, but never any pressure either. A huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes of your time with me every day and getting involved with the channel. It means the absolute world. And just in case you didn't know, these are all in podcast format as well. They're the same stories, but just a different format you can listen to them on. They're on Spotify, the iTunes stuff, many podcasts. Just search up Mark Narrations, The Wafflecast, and get involved. And I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love. Oh, Florida. I got one. Y'all keep looking for it. No way. I think I'd like your helmet. Yeah.